In a stunning turn of events on GBNews, Keir Starmer faces mounting pressure as a bombshell poll reveals 71% of Brits believe he's mismanaging the migrant crisis. With Labour councils launching legal actions against migrant hotels and internal criticism growing, the Prime Minister appeared increasingly isolated. But then came the hammer blow from Nigel Farage, unveiling radical mass deportation plans that left Starmer's team scrambling. As even former Labour Home Secretary Lord Blunkett demanded radical action, the Prime Minister found himself completely blindsided by the escalating crisis. Watch the clip. Before this, I want to say a big thank you to all our supporters who helped us reach our very first 1,000 subscribers. That achievement truly means a lot and inspires us to keep giving you our best. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Most people who watch our videos aren't actually subscribed. We know life gets busy, but subscribing is completely free and it really helps us grow. Our next goal is 3,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can get there even faster. You can also support the channel by checking out the links in the description, where you'll find some valuable books. They cost you no extra, but each purchase gives us a small commission that helps us improve our content. Thank you so much for being part of this journey.
The story, though, the story about the asylum issue, which is proving to be, I mean, you know, the Conservatives didn't manage to deal with it. They were all about, they stopped the boats, and now we've got the, get the smugglers, and nothing seems. It seems on the face of it that nothing really concrete is being done properly to stop this.
It does feel like a bit of an intractable problem, and it's getting quite desperate for the Prime Minister. 71%, this is the new YouGov poll out today, of voters believe that Keir Starmer is handling this issue badly. To be honest, I'm quite surprised it's not higher than that, given what we hear day in, day out about the frustration. And that includes 56% of people who voted Labour at the last election. And let's not forget, it feels like a lot has happened, but that election was only just over a year ago. This is so difficult for the Prime Minister. And what it comes down to, really, why both Labour and the Conservatives failed to do anything about this, is because of the legislation, the human rights legislation, the ECHR. And that ECHR legislation is then enshrined into UK law via the Human Rights Act. And that essentially makes it almost impossible for anyone to do anything about it once migrants get to these shores. That is why Keir Starmer talked about smashing the gangs, tackling the problem upstream over in France, because basically, once they get here, we know it is very, very difficult, despite all the political will in the world, to get them out again. That's what Rishi Sunak discovered when he tried to introduce this Rwanda policy. We had planes literally sitting off on the runway, and at the very last minute, people were taken off by people representing human rights lawyers. Their claims were then heard in the Court of Appeal, and lots of them managed to stay in the UK. That is why we're now hearing Nigel Farage saying that not only would he withdraw Britain permanently from the ECHR, but he would also rip up the UK Human Rights Act altogether and replace it with a British Bill of Rights. Then you've got Kemi Badenoch. She's been sitting on her hands, really, for pretty much since she came into office. There are lots of Conservative MPs who were saying that the only way forward is to leave the ECHR. Kemi Badenoch now appears to be of that mind herself. We heard Richard Holden there saying there's a commission. They won't say it. I think they will say it when we get to the Conservative Party conference in October. Even David Blunkett is saying, really interesting interview with him in the Times today, saying that the only way is to temporarily leave the ECHR. And he accuses Keir Starmer of having very little coherent narrative on the issue. And I think that is the crux of it. Some of the individual measures Labour are taking, perhaps this reform of the asylum appeal system,
appeal hearings,
which
effectively might even get in through this, slightly through the back door in the border security bill, which is nearing its later stages in the Lords. So it might actually, that might mean that the reforms could be on the statute book within weeks. So there's that.
There is that. Still not at all clear that it would actually get through, although they do have this enormous majority, almost the same size advisors Blair back in 1997, it has proved very difficult for them to get legislation that will be unpopular with left-wing Labour MPs through. So it could well be that this gets stalled in the House of Commons. But even if it doesn't, it does feel like a small chip away at a very large ice block.
Olivia, thanks.
Thank you, Olivia. Good to see you. Lots getting in touch. Henry says the answer to this is obvious. We need to leave the ECHR and house legal migrants offshore in tents. We also need to deport.